So, Taylor, last week the team opened up GNAC conference play on the road. Your first taste of conference play in Division II. What were your overall thoughts?
I thought we played pretty well the first half against NNU. Second half didn't come out as well, but we came back versus Central and we played our game, played a whole 4 quarters, and we just did well as a team, I thought.
Earned your first start. Were you a little nervous?
Yeah, I was really nervous, but Jenny just told me to just go out there. It's no different than if I was starting or if I wasn't, so that's what I did. I just went out there and just played my game.
And you've been working towards it for the last few months, ever since you joined the MSUB program. Let's talk about that. What have the first months been like with this team?
I mean, it was hard at the beginning because I had an injury, but I just fought through it and came back, tried to just do all I could do, play my game, and that's where I am.
And what has it been like working with the teammates that you have? You have great leadership, even though Alicia's not playing this year, and your senior captains, and you came in with a couple of freshmen.
Alicia's been great. She was so welcoming coming in, and all the other captains, Riley and Tiana and Marissa, they all have just been so just welcoming. They really emphasize communication, so that's what I've really trying to been working on. So, it's been really good.
And what has it been like being, now that you've seen conference action in the West region here for Division II?
I mean, it's really tough. There's a lot of good teams. Every team is really good, so we just have to come out there every single game and be ready.
That's a good point. Women's basketball right now, especially on this part of the country, is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're making a lot of adjustments.
Yeah. I mean, Jenny does a really good job with scout. Coach prepares us well with our offensive game. We've been doing everything we can do, so yeah.
And what have you noticed about your game? Maybe you had some goals coming in, what kind of participation you were going to have, but that's, of course, changed with all of the different roster changes that have happened this year. What are some of the things that you've had to adjust to?
I mean, coming out of high school, I was really mainly a scorer, but coming into this team, I really want to work on my rebounding, my defense. I think that is a really crucial part in the game, so that's what I've been really trying to work on.
A little break from conference action this week, but you only have one opponent. It's an exhibition game, but I bet the team's really focused because one of the things that they want to work on, obviously, the next couple of weeks is getting ready to go back into conference play.
Yeah, we're not looking at the next game as an exhibition game. We're just going to come out and just play like it's a real game, so that's what we're going to do.
And what are some of the things maybe that you are working on these next couple of weeks?
We've definitely been emphasizing defense. We've kind of let out a little bit in some games, but defense is really what we're mainly focusing on. So,
let's talk about your personality. We caught you on camera the other night doing some dancing. I heard you picked up a fun nickname. Let's talk about that. Who gave you the nickname and how did that happen?
Alicia and Riley, I think, gave me the nickname. We were in San Diego, and they were just calling out random weird names, and they decided to call it Carl, and I decided to look when they said it. So my name's Carl now.
And it has stuck. Has Coach called you that? Because that usually makes it official.
Yep.
Okay, so
Coach
you're official.
Yep, it's real.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, thanks, Carl.
Yeah,
thank
you.
And good luck this week.
Thank you.
Jeanann, the team is coming off a split on the road last week, conference split. First time against the GNAC this season. Let's start with the NNU and Central games. What were some of the things that you learned in those two games? You especially had to make an adjustment after the loss on Thursday.
Yeah, we really just had to regroup and realize that we had to put a complete game together. A lot of our losses this year, we've played really great here and there, and then we just have these hills, and so we just really tried to put a complete game together for Central Washington, and I think we did. We fought through. We've had a lot of adversity, but that hasn't really stopped us, and we just keep picking up where we left off and try to get better every single game. And I think after losing it did hurt us, and it was kind of an eye-opener, like, this is conference, and we need to pick it up, so.
Only down by 2 points at halftime against Northwest Nazarene. And so I bet that second half really had to sink in after the game was over in terms of what you needed to do to come back out on the court on Saturday.
Yeah, and we actually came out against NNU, and we totally had the first punch. We got ourselves back in it, got ahead, and then they called a timeout, and then they went on their run, and we just couldn't really stop it. And so our whole mindset going into Central Washington was if they get on a run, we're going to stop it. And so just not let them go on runs forever for the whole game. And so, yeah, we know that basketball is a game of runs. And so once that they started, we just made sure to start our runs, and try to keep those going as long as we could.
First year with Yellow Jackets, obviously, for you. What are some of the things in the first couple of months that you really had to make adjustments to?
Probably the pace of the game. I always thought that coming from a AA school, that was fast for the biggest school in Montana, but it was a whole new level, and it didn't take long to adjust, but those first couple weeks, it was eye-opening of how fast the game actually is, and just that, yeah, I don't really know.
What are some of the things maybe you learned about your game or about the game of basketball in those first couple of months that you were like, I'm going to work on that, or, oh, this is something that I can do?
Yeah, I'm trying to be a point guard now, and I was never a point guard in high school, and so I've just really had to improve my being able to distribute and be the leader out there, and so that was tricky for me at the beginning, just learning how to set up the offense. And Riley's a really great role model for that, so she makes it easier to go in just because she's helping me along the way. But that was one thing that I really had to improve, and with Coach and Riley, it's been a lot easier and been improving. So.
And maybe who are some of the players that have helped you this year on the court and off the court? Because college is an adjustment anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, everybody on our team. Like I said, Riley's always really helpful with the point guard stuff. Lexi and Taylor are always there helping, talking to the shooting guards. Tiana's a really great leader, and so is Beans. Even though Beans can't be out there with us, she's always there, even when she's not there. You know Beans is there, and so yeah, just really everyone has kind of stepped up and taken this younger team and said, hey, it doesn't matter how old you are, you have to show up and be ready to play.
Being from Billings, I bet a lot of your family and friends get to come and watch. Is that pretty fun for you?
Yeah, I like having my parents right down the road. It's been really helpful, and yeah, I love, my favorite thing is right after the game, I go give my dad a really big hug. So it's kind of different when we travel places far away and they're not there, but that's how everyone else on our team is for home games. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky, and I know that, and that was a big reason why I stayed here, and I'm very happy with that decision.
A couple of in-state opponents the next couple of weeks, so that'll be fun. You're hosting Great Falls this week and then Rocky the week after. I bet the team's happy to be here at Alterowitz.
Yeah, we're really happy to be home for December. It was a grind these last couple of weeks, just being on the road, and your sleep schedule is messed up, and we were talking about how our eating habits are a lot different when you're on the road, and so it's nice to be back in our own beds, in our own gym, because we don't lose at home.
And there's something about being able to focus here, because you're going to be back into conference at the end of the month. So certainly the teams here, they're able to practice. What are some of the things you're talking about these next few weeks?
We just have to keep getting better. We have to make sure that we're treating our bodies right, and it's going to be a struggle, and we just have to make sure that we push through all that fatigue and tiredness, and this is just kind of really how we figure out who we are and who we're going to be. Like this is the stepping stone to get into the rest of our season, and just really trying to make sure that we're ready to go. Even though these are exhibition games, like we can't take anything lightly, and it'll be a good setup for Alaska to come into our gym, and it's going to be fun being able to play here and just having that home court advantage.
And maybe what has it meant for you to put on the Yellow Jacket uniform? You're in Yellow Jacket gear all the time. You've got the Yellow Jacket uniform. What does that mean to you?
I love it. I love being able to walk around and rep MSUB. Last night we were volunteering with some little basketball players, and every time we'd huddle, they'd always want to say Yellow Jackets. And it's just really cool to see that. I mean, we just have a community behind us, and that doesn't always happen at other colleges. And so yeah, to be a part of this team and to be part of such a great program, it really makes you feel good about yourself, especially when you put on that that yellow jacket. You get to know that you're representing yourself and you're representing your team, but you're also representing Billings, and that's pretty special.
Coach, opening week of conference action last week, opened with a split. Always good to get a split on the road, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was excited that we were able to come out on top on Saturday after losing Thursday. We played a good first half on Thursday at NNU. I think we were 2 down at halftime, competitive game, and actually started the third quarter good, but then later in the third quarter they went on a run. We had a hard time getting it back under 10. We kept kind of chipping away, but give them credit. They played the better second half. Then to respond appropriately on the road against Central Washington, who's a tough opponent, especially there. I thought the game was close throughout, that our players hung in there, and we played a very nice fourth quarter and were able to come out with a 3-point win.
So definitely it was an all-team win on Saturday against the Wildcats. You got points and contributions from everybody on the roster.
It was. A lot of players are playing a little out of position. They have great size inside, but they got a couple post players from Southern Utah transfers, so they're much bigger than they were a year ago. Yet I thought we battled hard. I thought Marissa did a really nice job stepping in and playing in the post a lot, especially defensively. Tiana had a nice game all around, and then, like you said, it was a team effort. There were a lot of key baskets down the stretch by a lot of different people. I thought Riley played a good floor game, but it was just fun environment to be in a really close game and then to come out on top.
One game this week, an exhibition game against the Argos from Great Falls. Always a fun game, those in-state games against opponents from Montana. Let's talk about this week and kind of what you want your team to work on.
Well, we took Monday off, which I think was needed after the long road trip, and we've had a lot of games before this last week and a lot of back-to-back weekend games. So I think we were tired, so just giving them that extra day off was important, and be able to focus on one opponent should help us this week. Tests are coming up soon with finals, etc. So academics are of the utmost importance now as well. But Great Falls is a very strong opponent. We beat them last year, but they were very competitive. They had a good year. They went to the national tournament again a year ago. I think they were 9-0 going into last weekend. I know they lost at least one. I don't know about if they lost both or not. They gave the Grizzlies a scare earlier in Missoula, so Bill does a really nice job with his team, and I know he'll have them ready, and we're going to have to be at our best to come out on top.
So some of the things that you're going to need from your team this week are a lot of those underclassmen are playing roles that maybe they didn't think they'd have to at the beginning of the season, but you're getting a lot of quality minutes. Freshman Taylor Cunningham came in and she actually started for the team.
Yeah, that was her best game yet and her best weekend of 2 games overall, so very encouraged with that. I mean, she had the foot injury from the summer, and she missed a lot of the fall conditioning. I think she's that's helping. She's kind of getting into better shape now, but also just starting to understand the plays and to be able to play more instinctively without thinking a lot. But she had some key baskets. And she got her hands on some different passes defensively, some nice rebounds, and she's versatile in that she's almost 6 foot tall. We want her to play mostly on the wing, but right now she's going to also have to play some minutes inside, and she's capable of doing that. And it was good to see her step up.
And like you said, team win, but I know one of the comments that you've made is those underclassmen are really going to be fighting for quality minutes. What does that mean, and what will that mean for your team, in the next month or two?
Well, it basically means that if you're going to play, it's just not that you're just not going to take up space out there. I mean, your performance is being evaluated, and we expect you to contribute at both ends. We've had a lot of people maybe help us defensively for a stretch or offensively, but having a hard time putting both together. And so what we're looking for is that player or players that, whether it's 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes a game, really can be effective on both ends. They're great gals. They work hard. They're very coachable. I really like the chemistry of our team, but at the same time, we have to hold them accountable, and that's the way they want it to be too. But we need complete performances out there, and I'm encouraged at the improvement that they're showing.
And how important are these next 3 weeks? You have these in-state opponents, Great Falls this week and then Rocky next week, but getting ready, for conference again.
Anytime you play a game, it's important, whether it's non-league or league. We want to do our very best and to come out on top and play well. So that's the first goal. But secondly, it's nice to be able to focus on just one opponent for the next 2 weeks with the finals, and this gives us a chance maybe to slow down, practice, maybe subtract a little bit, and just kind of make sure that we're doing some things on both ends well. Instead of sometimes we go on and try to put more in, but we really haven't mastered the fundamentals or the simplicity of what we've been teaching. So it's good to go back and review, try to get better. Then hopefully going into the break, we can get really healthy, maybe get another player or two back, and we start at home after the break with the Alaska schools. So it'll be a fun couple weeks.